The man was slapped in the face by himself. A second ago, he said he was not interested in women. The next second, he went bankrupt and bought an elf wife. At this moment, the beautiful white-haired elf is ready to die. But she would never have thought that the male protagonist would buy him back to love him. The man's name is Zagon, the most talented evil magician. Today he is rescuing lost girls in his territory. As a result, he met the magician who came to him. They are mavericks who used to be magicians, generally reluctant to communicate with anyone. But today was a problem, because Marcosius, one of the famous 13 demon kings, passed away. There's a Demon King legacy auction going on right now. The magician also wants to participate in the auction, but because of the lack of money, I had to come to the male protagonist to borrow money. At the same time, he also informed the male lead of the news of the auction. Come to the auction. The male protagonist, who was originally lack of interest, was looking at the slave auction in the field. But in the next second, the worker pulled the black robe off the slave. What came into view was a beautiful white-haired elf girl. When the male protagonist in the audience saw this, his heart beat faster. Before waiting for the staff to finish introducing them, they directly started bidding.
1 million!
Awesome! Is this the speed of love? The companions around are crazy, and would rather spend 1 million than buy a white-haired elf. What kind of spending is this? After listening, the male boss gave him a puzzled look. Then he went to the center of the auction to look at his new wife. After returning to the castle, the first thing she did was ask him how she would die. The male protagonist is very distressed. He hurriedly expressed that he did not mean to kill her, but these words had a different meaning in Whitehair's ears. At this moment, he could only stand still. Seeing that, the male host quickly changed the subject so the fairy could choose a favorite room. But the elf girl mistakenly thought that the male protagonist let her choose the place where she died. Now, the male protagonist also understands. As slaves, elf girls have been instilled with the idea of becoming sacrifices or experimental mice. So she kept wondering what the male protagonist was going to do with her. This moment reminds the male protagonist of his past. So he took Nifei upstairs to find him a room. She was careless and cunning when she went upstairs. The quick-sighted male protagonist held she who was about to fall in time. But what she can't see is that the male protagonist's face is already red like a bubble teapot. The male protagonist opens the door while introducing. I saw inside were full of skulls. He instantly regretted it. The male protagonist, who wanted to fix it, quickly threw a fireball into the room. After a burst of explosion, everything inside was blown clean. But this powerful magic scared she again. This room has a balcony. It seems she also likes this room. It seems she really likes looking at the moon. From now on, you will stay in this room. She finally thanked him. Since she arrived at the castle, the male master has not slept all night. She is worth millions of dollars, but sleeps on the floor, making it difficult for the male owner to control her. Thinking that she might hate him, he didn't dare to make trouble. Nifei woke up and obediently folded the male protagonist's coat. At this moment, the male protagonist just happened to bring breakfast back. Faced with Nifei's greeting, the male lead momentarily did not know how to respond. So I can only invite her to dinner. Nifei was surprised that the male lead ate the same thing with him. The male master then realized that the breakfast was too simple. This was food sent to the slaves. The male owner knows. She is only worried about him. That expression seemed to say, if I don't do anything for him, he will die. At this moment, he realized the reason why he had never been serious about eating. Because he was used to a miserable life, he didn't feel there was any problem. So Nifei volunteered to help him cook. He was delighted. He didn't expect that the girl he liked would agree to cook for him. So immediately decided to go out and buy ingredients. But when he went out, he discovered that he had spent all his money at the auction, so he could only walk. The top priority is to make money quickly. Perhaps attacking the carriage just now to take away the property would be faster. But he didn't want her to feel like a robber. Or sell the castle. Opening a fast food restaurant with her wouldn't be bad. Unexpectedly, there was suddenly a scream from behind. It turned out that the car was stolen by robbers nearby. The male lead also has no intention of taking action. The robbers were all harmless to him. But the look on her face made him think that maybe she had been dragged away like that. The male leader changed his mind and decided to take action. He wanted to let Neat Fi know that the robbers were just a bunch of grass. The robber thought the male lead was a magician and needed time to cast spells, so his accomplices attacked him. Seeing this, the male lead immediately pushed Neat Fi behind, but the robber did not expect that the magician in front of him was someone who combined magic and martial arts. Relying solely on brute strength, he crushed the iron axe and took down the robber easily. Seeing that he was in trouble, the robber called out a magician. He didn't expect the magician to help ordinary people, but meeting him can only be considered an unlucky male protagonist. His palm emitted fire, drawing magic. The male lead did not have the patience to raise his hand to interrupt the casting, but it was too late. He has finished drawing the magic. But unexpectedly, the magic circle was delayed and did not start, just because the male protagonist in the moment just took away the dominant power of the magic circle. Next, Zagan used his opponent's magic circle to make lightning fall, causing him to disappear into smoke. Those saved people did not expect that there were also good people among the magicians. The car owner took out a large bag of money and invited the male owner to be his bodyguard. The male owners were all surprised that making money was so simple. Being thanked like that is the first time. Maybe it's because being with her makes people not afraid of me. She didn't understand why he reached out to help. The male owner took this opportunity to say a few words that made Neat Fi open up.
All I did was teach that self-important filth their place in the world.
The male owner wants to use the money he just earned for Neat Fi to spend freely, but all she needs is some ragged clothes. So he took her to a clothing store. The store owner saw her and praised her a lot. The necklace around the shop owner's neck fell silent for a moment. Then take Neat Fi to change clothes. The male owner also knows that this necklace is too evil. She quickly appeared in a super sexy outfit. She was embarrassed and didn't dare look at each other. Seeing that, he asked the store owner to replace her with another set. She then changed into a serious maid outfit, but it's all high-quality silk, and the pair is backed to allow for healing. The male owner asked Neat Fi how he felt. She said it's okay, as long as the male owner lets her wear anything. Having said that, she changed it to the previous outfit. She was scared and quickly expressed that she liked this outfit very much. The store owner is very happy because she has such an owner. Next stop is to the blacksmith shop. He wanted to help her take off the necklace. It's just a pity that the shop owner said it couldn't be done. This necklace is a magic prop. The safest way is to open with the appropriate key. If the auction doesn't have a key, it's likely that the key is still somewhere in Marco Castle. Got information the male owner wanted to pay, but was refused by the store owner. Just because 1 year ago the shop owner and his daughter were attacked, the male lead came to save them. The two people ran away out of fear, although the male protagonist doesn't remember at all. But he also thanked him for the information and left. She didn't understand why he wasn't worried that after removing the collar, she would run away. Saying you don't care is not true, but even so, he still wanted to cancel it. The male lead was speechless. Urgently need a magic book that teaches people how to talk to girls. The male lead finally knows why he fell in love with her at first sight. That is the same situation and despair before a world that does not belong to them. At this time, she used a fork without inserting small tomatoes. Just remembered, there is a spoon you can use to eat. Seeing that, the male lead also pretended not to know how to use a fork. The result is...
Say what?
She fed him directly.
It's pretty good.
The male lead will naturally not refuse this good thing, so the exchange ceremony must also give her something to eat. So the dog rice was given out for free for everyone to see. Nephi, in order to repay the male protagonist for saving his life, a sumptuous breakfast was prepared for him early in the morning. The male protagonist felt incredible when he saw this. Seeing the male homeowner so satisfied, Nephi also happily shook his ear. But then the male protagonist found that breakfast was only for himself. He asked Nephi, "Don't you eat?" But Nephi replied that he only prepared the male protagonist and forgot to make it for himself. But Nephi replied that he only prepared the male protagonist and forgot to make it for himself. But the male protagonist said, "It doesn't matter." The male protagonist directly ordered him to sit on his lap. "I used to feel tasteless every time I ate, but until I met the elf wife." He finally experienced the feeling of happiness that was about to suffocate. Not only can you eat breakfast made by your beloved wife, you can even get his love to feed you. He never expected happiness to come so suddenly. After enjoying a sweet breakfast, the male protagonist began to study magic. Nephi also followed at the same time. She is curious about what the male protagonist is usually researching, and the male protagonist said that they are all ordinary magic boards. Seeing Nephi so interested, the male protagonist begins to draw a magic circle on the ground, then teach Nephi some basic knowledge of magic. The construction of the magic circle is also known as binding. If you can interfere with the other party's magic circuit and control it. Then no magic can touch this person. Then this person would be the most powerful magician in theory. A theory is a theory, after all. If you can do it easily. People don't really study all kinds of magic tricks. But at the same time, some magicians will steal the research results of others. So there's a lot of traps that are set up to stop people from taking that knowledge away. Because Nephi has a habit. As long as you are happy, your ears will move. Nephi said that he was not happy because of the magic. It's because the male protagonist communicates so much with himself for the first time. Because this is his best field, he can say a little more. At this time, Nephi also raised a question. What is the master pursuing to make himself so powerful? He was quick to respond, if at all, to survival. When I was a child, I had no money and no place. Only by stealing. Then one day, he was kidnapped by a magician who wanted to make himself a sacrifice for his magic practice. So at this moment, I had an idea, to find a way to kill him before being killed. In the end, I succeeded. From then on, I realized that in order to survive, I must have great strength. Nephi said that she may not be as strong as the male protagonist. Seeing that the man was trying to say that he could teach her about magic, suddenly, he noticed that a group of people had invaded my territory. He was furious. Let Nephi prepare dinner for the two of them. He went out to greet the invading guests. Meanwhile, the knights of the church had already circled the forest a few times. Shesti immediately discovered that it was the male host's barrier. Then, the power of the holy sword will break the invisible barrier. Coincidentally, the male protagonist also came to the door at this time. Looking at the broken barrier, I can't help but feel that the people of the church are really rude. Hearing this, the knights were suddenly angry, but I didn't expect that the one who destroyed his barrier was actually one of the 12 holy swords that once destroyed the Demon King. A symbol of the church's highest power, I just took a closer look at the holy knight in front of me. The male protagonist also recalled that it seemed to be the girl who was almost killed before. Some regret in my heart. Saw the man raise his hand and launch magic towards his opponent. Unfortunately, the attack was blocked by the shield battle, then suddenly launched a counterattack. Seeing that, the male protagonist condensed magic power in his fist and sent him flying away in one move. The male protagonist couldn't help but laugh at this situation. Outraged, angry and furious, he swings his sword at the male protagonist. But the male protagonist easily cut off his weapon with 2 fingers, and eliminate each other with an extremely humiliating fall. He knows very well that the male protagonist will not kill the hostages at his feet, and said they would fight against the evil magician. The male protagonist activates the magic array to fend off Shesti, rushing towards him. The magic array would be damaged in an instant. However, he also found that although Shesti has the blessing of the holy sword, but her own strength and swordsmanship are rather weak. It's not that the male protagonist doesn't want to fight back. Just then, Shesti caught the man's flaw. Diameter stabs towards each other. When the male protagonist was about to kill him, Shesti suddenly whispered to him, "Let the male protagonist pretend to be killed by him, then give up magic and live as a normal person. After all, you once saved your life." Hearing that, the male lead also understood that Shesti had bet her career on this scene. Just because if the paladin shields the magician, will be tortured and executed horribly. At this time, Nephi ran out worriedly. Seeing this, the male lead quickly told him to return, but unfortunately, it's still slow. Immediately launched the spear aggressively towards the opponent. In danger, the male protagonist rescued Nephi in time. This scene made Nephi emotions no longer suppressed. And so, the paladins fell, and apologized to the male lead for involving unrelated people in this matter. Returned to the castle, Nephi bandages the wound for the male protagonist. However, the male protagonist is curious. That concubine obviously does not know magic. Nephi said that it was not magic. Because of this power, his people called him the son of the curse. Just because in front of their eyes, this power seems to be an impermissible existence. Even thought I was a creature that couldn't be born in this world. But one day, the village was attacked by humans, ordered by the clan to use this power to protect the village. It is also to repay the kindness that has kept me alive until now. He himself did not resist and let humans capture him directly, watching everyone run away. They just think they deserve it. Watching people who have scolded and beaten them end like this, I couldn't help but laugh inside. But when I came back to my senses, I realized what I had done. After saying all this, concubine Nephi apologized to the man. "I shouldn't have hidden it from you for so long." But the male protagonist directly said that you are still too kind. If he had, he would have killed them all long ago. That is all.